Time for two more.
Good stuff.
You like that?
I know, right? Double doink. Yeah, but...
KFAN is my favorite station.
It's a Monday in the neighborhood being FM 100.3, KFAN from the 651 Carpets Plus studios. Welcome to the 9 to noon Love Covenant as part of the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon audio network. What's going on? NBA fans, what's going on? Sports followers from afar, what's going on? 9 to noon. Very much still is thinking of it. And maybe more significantly, the impact it had over the weekend, sending ripples through the National Basketball Association. Holy cow. I mean, they're all talking about it.
1:05 left to play in the game. Kuzma again. They want him mid-post left side. They get it to him. He's bumping. He's backing. He turns fade. 15-footer. Oh, he drops it in. Kyle Kuzma doesn't want to lose 17 straight games. He's got 31 points, and the Wizards now are up 103-100 with 55.9 seconds.
A little early in the radio week to unfurl one of these, but... Luka and AD, yeah, that's the bomb talker, and we're all over it. But the how trumps the hype every time. The how trumps the hype and the hysteria every single time. It's our beloved Hal. And 2 days. It's almost like you don't want to say it. Yeah, and this happened here 2 days. And this happened here 2 days ago.
Jordan Poole off to Malcolm Brogdon on the logo at midcourt. 28 seconds left to play, 10 to shoot. Left side, they go to Kuzma again. Will it be successful 3 straight times? He fades on an 18-footer. No, Valanciunas, the offensive rebound and the putback. Washington 105, Minnesota 100. Timeout, Timberwolves. The Wizards 19.5 seconds away from putting an end to their second 16-game losing streak of the season.
Just listen to that.
When he said 19 and a half seconds left in the game, I thought he was going to be like 19 and a half point favorites.
I always love that one.
About ready to fall. Okay, now a lot of this comes in jest, and you know it's not like super long-term concern, or is there? But there isn't, if only for the moment. I mean, like they're all talking about it. I like Dallas a ton in the short term if Kyrie stays healthy, but if LeBron gets Luka to work out and change his off-court life and gets everybody to stop thinking he weighs 290 pounds and to think he's in Los Angeles because the Mavs think he's fat and a finals quitting loser, look out if they learn to share. But the how trumps the hysteria, if only for a second. It's very important to this covenant. Context. No Ant. Yeah. No Julius.
Correct.
Nas left the game. That's fair. That's fair. It's fair with the context, isn't it? The con, and good morning.
Good morning. You're correct. in any one of these situations, you appreciate the context. You can just look at the box score or the final score, and it's like, we got nipped at the wire by the worst team in the NBA, and those two highlights I played both referenced a 16-game losing streak by the visitors.
And I think they were down Rashawn Holmes, pizza guy from the pandemic, so let's keep that in context.
I always love that one.
It's all about context.
Hey.
With that said, you got to beat the worst team in the NBA at home.
Come on.
You have to protect your home court. And yes,
They
Nas
didn't have Ant and Julius.
wasn't great on the court, and you're expecting for more from Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luka Garza. Instant offense, comes in, 11 minutes. He's 0-6 from the field. You got Ingles trying to make big plays in late spots in games. I mean, I love the Aussie, but that's really just not him at this stage of his career, even though we loved watching him in the gym at Mayo Health Clinic Square.
He had one really nice pass down the key.
Yeah, he did. He had his moments. Dillingham with the 7 dimes. We love that, but still, is the kid able to take over games? That clearly is a no.
Yeah.
So context matters. But for a team in the muddy West, a 6-41 team as they entered the building, you got to beat the 6-win team. You got to beat the 6-win team. So there are trades and there is hysteria at a national level with the association.
Yeah.
But locally, some lamentations. And a chance for, hopefully, a much more game howl squad this evening against Sacramento.
Yeah, the Hell might have gotten lucky a little bit over the weekend with this Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade on Sunday, because maybe there were actually like 10,000 basketball fans in the country when they went to their favorite basketball-related website. They saw, what? Oh, the Wiz, what? Oh, wow, look at this! Maybe it was like, Kulabe finally, what? Oh, holy cow, Luka.
Kulabe or whatever his name.
Maybe they were like, I wonder if Rashawn Holmes' favorite pizza in the pandemic, where he left the bubble and was the first to penetrate. He was the first to infiltrate said bubble and cheat and break the rules. Maybe they're like, oh, Rashawn Holmes' favorite pizza is pep. AD went where? Maybe. Attention diversion.
DeAndre Hunter here, Kyle Kuzma there.
Now, your Wiz, all right, context is king, though. Had lost 16 in a row, tied for the longest in Washington Wizards and or Bullets history. It's their second road win of the season. This is so nasty right here. Context, no Ant, no Julius. Nas leaves the game early. Loud leaves the game during the game, but no Ant, no Julius. No Julius for the near future. That's the A topic. Stand by. Ant, questionable tonight. I would think he would play. After what happened against the Wiz on Saturday when he didn't play, I certainly hope he plays. It's their second road win of the season, which is all too super special. Their last road win was at Atlanta. Third game of the season 3 months ago.
Above average.
So bad.
They have a bunch of wild hair, out of control kids, and absolutely 2 dogs who can beat you in Kuzma and Valanciunas. Kuzma and Valanciunas, if ignited, if engaged, they can be dogs. Can I get a witness to that? The Con, you're an elite basketball mind.
Yes, dogs.
They can.
They
generally pee down their own legs, but if engaged, these dogs can be tough, right?
There is a hallelujah. There's potentially an amen mixed with a preach on.
I'd take that Amen Thompson here anytime if there's an amen in the equation, but we digress.
You and the mailman were trying to absolutely rip me off over the weekend, but a different conversation.
We got murdered by Kuzma and Valanciunas. I mean, Jordan Poole's not a dog. He let a teammate punch him in the face. It was recorded on camera, and he still has yet to punch him back in the face. He ain't a dog. He turns the other cheek, so maybe he is a dog. Kuzma and Valanciunas murdered us. There's unique context to the loss, but league-wide, everybody is going to be like, what? They won? And they ain't going to care who played or who didn't play. It's just those who follow it are going to look at their favorite website. They're going to get their favorite notification and be like, Wizards, what? They won? Crazy. Now, it's embarrassing a smidge, and let's fade the music and fire up 9 to noon. Good morning, football around the corner. It's embarrassing a smidge, and like Nordo said, Sacramento is here tonight, but the team's A topic is Julius Randle is out for, as Finch said, the near future with some groin-related L. Now, with Randle, like the trade, loathe the trade is the trade. And he's one of us, and he's important. So just getting that thing going with Anthony, I mean, we just got the sucker going here, man. Then we lose to the Wiz with Anthony and Julius and McDaniels and Stifle and Alexander Walker. I dig our mix for the playoffs, but this left a little bit of a blot. This left a little bit of a mark, as they would say, losing to the Wiz despite not having our best two players. So, like the trade or loathe the trade with Cat and the Knicks and Julius Randle and all that. You can like it, you can loathe it, but that's the same thing to a different level they're experiencing with Dallas and Los Angeles. The Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers. Anthony Davis heads to the Dallas Mavericks. There were other trades that took place around the NBA. Super special 3-and-D guy Max Christie goes to Dallas. Kleber Kleba heads to Los Angeles. We're happy for everybody. You're an elite basketball mind. So let's analyze this for about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
If Kyrie doesn't break down and they stay healthy with those bigs, they can get to the NBA Finals. So it's like rip-off of all rip-offs ever to rip off in the history of rip-offs. That's all you hear. It's all you see. It's all you read. All right. Luka's 25. All right. AD's 31. Breaks down a little bit. AD's got some dog to him. Luka's got some dog to him, unless you want to play defense or look back at the NBA Finals last year. But this general manager for the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, this guy right here is taking it about as hard as any executive I've ever come across, locally or nationally in sports. And I can understand, because Luka Doncic not only was the face of Dallas Mavericks basketball, he's the face of the Dallas sports market.
Correct.
Maybe more than Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and Michael Parsons, right?
I'd go, well, I mean, Parsons and CD, but no, I mean, the NFL is going to be king, but in terms of iconic faces of a guy that did just take them to the finals, this is I'm saying in the super short term.
Thank you.
With Anthony Davis.
Doesn't have to be super. Can be this year or next year. Who
has brought, I mean, he has been oft injured, although he is now currently on a streak, maybe the last year and a half, where he's been mostly healthy. And the Lakers have managed various back-to-back situations, although I'm pretty sure AD's been playing most back-to-backs too. So, with that said, with a healthy Kyrie and PJ Washington, I think they're going to have to rely on him for more shots than he's good for. I think PJ...
Best season of his career.
It is.
Why would it stop now?
Well, but I think you have too many games where he's shooting 20-plus shots a night. I think that needs to come down a little bit.
Maybe Nico sees it the other way.
But that potentially with Gafford, now Derek Lively's hurt, but he should be back within the next month and a half.
Yeah.
That is the most dominating front court in the NBA.
It's almost like they were set to play the Cleveland Cavaliers, all right, with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley.
Oof.
Okay, now that little 1-1-A thing there, whichever way you want to do it, you know, in a passing league, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl by running.
Yep.
In a three-point league, the Dallas Mavericks want to get to the NBA Finals with the sturdiest bigs of all bigs ever to big. PJ's in that conversation, too. But it's almost like they were watching film on the Cleveland Cavaliers before they played them yesterday.
Yeah.
And then the GM, Nico Harrison, went, hey, this Evan Mobley, Jared Allen thing's pretty tough to stop. How about we go out there and get AD?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and these guys play good defense, too, which Luka does not. Luka Doncic does not care about defense.
No, we talked about it last year during the series, where at times it was 5-on-4, and they would go out of their way to try and hide Luka from situations, and whether it be a foul,
preach it,
or people running through him like a turnstile. They actively tried to hide him on the outside near the baseline, away from the action, so that he wouldn't get fouls and that they could actually have people defending Wolves players on the court.
Yeah.
He's an awful defender. You know what it's kind of like, and I'm taking a shot at my own favorite team here.
And this thing is just so emotional.
It's kind of like they were playing the Wolves last year, and they're like, oh, I see what Tim Connolly was trying to do with Rudy and with Nas.
Came up a little short.
What we're actually going to do is just do it better with Gafford and Lively.
Oh, wow.
And now we're going to pull Anthony Davis into it. I think it's potentially a long-term issue. Because you are you have absolutely daggered a 25-year-old superstar and said, you know, you're chubby and cute and Euro baby fat like Jokic, but Jokic plays all the games, and you have this chronic calf/knee soreness issue that takes you out of the mix every single season.
Haven't even picked up a 10-pound barbell in 15 years.
There's no possibility for the rest of your time in the NBA that you could dedicate yourself to maybe a better conditioning load or workout load. We are just absolutely done with you. And in fact, you are done in one way or another. You will always be slow. You will always have issues with your lower body. And so we're just going to say goodbye to you. And we're going to replace you with a guy who until recently has actually been injured most of his career, is aging, and we're handing over the keys of the short-term future to a Kyrie Irving, who's still got it, by the way. I mean, he's still fantastic, absolutely. But 5 years down the road, Luka's still going to be potentially in the prime of his career. I think you've, in some ways, awoken a sleeping monster who was already a triple-double monster, and you just happened to hand him over to the bright lights of Showtime.
Watch lastly here, a lot more on this, including a couple of guests later. So watch AD emerge for the Mavs. Their second-year center, Derek Lively, comes back eventually. Daniel Gafford, P.J. Washington, Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, all that. Watch them rattle off like 6-7 consecutive wins and then get in a really, really big spot. Then all of a sudden, like Kyrie Irving has the audacity to get in foul trouble, say early in the second quarter. And like Jason Kidd's like, well, Kyrie's smart, you know, nothing's going to happen here with the stripes or anything. Oh, what? He got his fourth foul in the first half. Now we can't play him the majority of the second half. And then he leaves the game in a big situation. And then Billy and Johnny and Christy and Susie and Tamika and Antoine, all those heartbroken Mavericks fans because their beloved Luka's gone. They're like, all right, well, we're red hot and Anthony Davis is working out beautifully. Oh, wait, what's this? Our backup point guard is Spencer Dinwiddie.
I always love that one.
It has played a long time.
I always love that one.
I think we have Quentin Grimes, even though nobody knows who he is.
I always love that one.
I used Grimes yesterday for triples. It's not good. It's not good.
These guys, lastly, for now, have now traded Porzingis and Luka. Quick fire on Doncic, just slightly below the surface. You know, there's the obvious. I mean, he's the bomb player, all right? Shares the ball, born leader. I'd put a question mark after that, all right? Is he a born leader? Maybe something like that plays into it. Not completely sure. The rub, though, as Nordo mentioned, and we joked about as everybody is in passing, mucho complaints about conditioning, lack of defensive effort. He embarrassed himself at times in the NBA Finals, not even trying on defense, looking like he was out there. I mean, in the NBA Finals, there were times that Luka Doncic cared so little about defense that you tune into it, you would think it was an all-star game against Jason Tatum.
I always love that one.
Anthony Davis, as the kids would say, is a dog, tough as nails, dominates important categories, but nevertheless, he's older than Luka. So,
and he is nicked up right now.
Right.
It's not a long-term thing, but you're replacing now. I think Luka's still out for a few weeks, maybe all-star break with this calf thing. Again, it's almost chronic with his lower leg bits. But they're going to run into this with Anthony Davis, too, where you're just going to have to deal with 2-3 games off here and there. We'll see how it works. But the on paper toughest front court in the NBA.
Now, courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com, what's on deck 9 to noon includes some Super Bowl chat from a Philadelphia perspective with a longstanding friend of 9 to noons. He's NFL Insider Adam Caplan. He's around the corner. Then some Bikes Bites after that. Hockey in the middle with Tocchet. That's Mick Tocchet. And then at 10:45, Dallas radio star Bob Sturm from the Ticket in Dallas. He will discuss some trade wins related scenarios from down Big D way. That's 10:45. And Minnesotan Mike Trudell, Orono High School, go crazy. He's one of the best sideline reporters for any team in the NBA for television. He happens to work with the LA Lakers. He's been there for quite some time. So Minnesotan Mike Trudell will join us from Southern California or wherever the Lakers are to begin the final hour. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Super Bowl 59 is Sunday on KFAN. Let's dive into that for a segment around the corner. But first, we offer the old money grab.
Yes, indeed. The fan wants to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand. It's called the National Cash Contest. So you go to KFAN.com and you enter the keyword grand. You might win $1,000 with the keyword grand at KFAN.com. Good luck.
Pitches it out to Barkley, takes off to the outside. He's at the 50, he's at the 40, he's at the 30, he's going to go! 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Saquon Barkley, 60 yards on his opening touch.
Adam Caplan, hardcore football.
Longstanding member of the Love Covenant is a dear friend Adam Caplan at Caplan NFL via the tweet machine. He's a top shelf National Football League insider and a part of the Inside Birds podcast. And main man Cap is Philly based. Hey there, what's going on with you, brother?
Good to talk to you, but it's been so long, so we have not even talked about the crazy, surprising season of the Vikings. It did end, obviously, like everybody wanted with the Super Bowl ring, but I have to ask you this before we get started. Did you think the Vikings would be as good as they turned out to be?
Well, the stock take into the season, and producer Nordo can validate this because he's with me most, if not every day. I couldn't come up with a number for like a record prediction for the first time in a while, but I was like, I think I know what a playoff team looks like and what one doesn't look like. And I know this group with all these new Grenards and Van Ginkels and Jones and Cashmans. This is a playoff team. I just don't know if it's a 9-win playoff team or a 14-win playoff team. So that was the stock answer. It was accurate, but then all of a sudden we slipped on a banana peel, and here we are.
Well, look, let's put it this way. Sam Darnold, who really never played well in his career, was phenomenal up into those last two games. Everybody knows, but what a great story of development for him, and obviously the job Kevin O'Connell and his staff did. And then you mentioned Van Ginkel and some of the great stories, and Brian Flores is just an incredible defensive coordinator. So I think you got to be bullish, really on the coaching specifically.
Oh yeah,
the way the players have been developed, and obviously the execution by the players. So they were way better than we thought around the National Football League. I thought it was a great story, and hopefully it'll continue.
Cap, you mentioned the name Sam Darnold. I'm going to go there first then with the Super Bowl next. If Sam Darnold hits the market, what do you think happens?
You know, it's interesting. I think most people would probably point, because this is what I had about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I still think this swings true. You look at a deal like that Baker Mayfield got, 2 years fully guaranteed. That way, if year one is just so, year two is bad, you can get out of it without any further damage. Because you got to be careful how you structure these contracts with guys who, I don't want to say Darnold came out of nowhere, but he had never really played consistently well in his career up until this year. And then you got the J.J. McCarthy situation. So it's kind of a good problem to have. You have McCarthy. I know it wasn't a lot of football. The game that he got hurt on, you called the game. Obviously, when they played the Raiders, he looked great in that game, from what I understand. He started to really come on. Not that there was any doubt Darnold would start week one, but it's too bad McCarthy had that meniscus surgery because he just doesn't get those valuable reps in practice. But I'm fascinated to see what the Vikings do at quarterback, because this is, and we'll talk more about this closer to the draft and free agency. It's not a good year for free agency. Darnold's clearly the best. And for the draft right now, I would only put 2 quarterbacks in the first round. I know probably 3 or 4 will go because it happens every year, but it's not a really good year if you need a quarterback.
All right. Well, I mean, you just were in Mobile, along with Indianapolis for an NFL insider like you. I mean, that's Steam Central. So, we never press you on names or validity or, hey, the 1 to 10, how valid do you think this is? If Cap unfurls something, it's valid. It just may not take place, but it's valid at that time. So, I mean, if you had to lay the chips on the table right now, would you lay them out would you put the black chips and the banana chips, the big numbers in the middle of the table that Sam Darnold will hit free agency and will be on a non-Vikings team next year?
That's a great question. Now, I would say had he played well the last two games, I'd say it would be a lock that he'd return. Because you've got J.J. McCarthy for 3 more seasons plus a 5th-year option. You don't need to walk away from Darnold. But those last 2 games were troubling. We know he didn't handle the blitz well. Neither did their offensive line either. Their offensive line struggled, as you know. So I would say this. More chance. Again, it's so early with this thing, but McCarthy's a future quarterback. I'd put it that way. The future does not have to be now. And that's what they have to do to get through to his representatives is how fair will Sam Darnold be in a contract, because he finally got developed. And if I'm the Vikings, you look how far they went with him. Why walk away from it? That's where I would be. Why walk away from it? But again, we have a lot of time here. My sense is they'll look and see what the cost would be before they make a decision.
Adam Caplan.
What chance do you give those birds, the Eagles, of winning Super Bowl 59 by 2 scores or more?
None. What is that coming from with that kind of question? What were you looking at there?
With the Eagles? I think they win the game by 8 points or more. I think,
really? Why?
Well, because Spagnuolo, the segment's about you, not me, but nevertheless, it's okay. Spag's got a lot of respect for him. This Saquon Hurts passing situation, offensive linemen potentially getting healthy, the Georgia kids in the middle of the defense, both rookies on defense are not afraid of the moment. And I'm not a prisoner of the moment guy. I just know the way they're trucking teams right now. I got a lot of respect for Kansas City, but the elasticity of things like this at times has an expiration date. And I think it's going to pop. And I think Philadelphia wins the Super Bowl and wins by more than a touchdown. Clearly you don't.
Well, I think it's a tight game, okay? I think it's a 3-point game either way. I'll make my pick on Sports Grid probably Thursday with Scott Farrell when I'm in New Orleans this week. But
Scott Farrell.
Yeah, and by the way, the point spread has not moved. It opened at 1.5, has not moved, which I find interesting.
Me too.
And the thing is with Philly is they're way younger. If you look at the roster they had 2 years ago when they faced the Chiefs and lost to them, and they had the lead at halftime, where their linemen, if you remember, the grass was terrible. The guys were slipping left and right. We're not going to have that issue in New Orleans. The Eagles actually won in New Orleans in Week 3. When Vic Fangio, their Eagles' new defensive coordinator, put in a new front, which the Saints had not seen on tape, the so-called unscattered look. And this defense, Paul, this has been like one of the all-time stories. You mentioned Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, who played at Georgia. Another guy, Nolan Smith, who played at Georgia with those guys. First-round pick, who had done nothing before the season, didn't have a good off-season or training camp or preseason. Got pressed into service in Week 5, and he has not looked back. Zach Bond had been a career backup outside linebacker, more of an edge rusher. He never played inside backer in his life. He was arguably, depending on who you speak with, the best inside backer in football, first-team All-Pro. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Gardner Johnson's back. He was with the team 2 years ago. Reed Blankenship's come out of nowhere to be a former undrafted free agent. There's been a lot of great coaching. We talked about this about your Vikings. The Eagles have gotten great coaching. Don't forget, the Eagles moved on from both coordinators last season, and now you've got 2 veterans, and Kellen Moore is going to wind up being the Saints head coach. And you've got Vic Fangio, and what he says will be his last job. This has been a great coaching job in Philly.
All right, so with the Eagles, like, what could foil this thing for the Eagles?
All right, so they're kind of like Kansas City. They're ahead in most games. Now we saw the thing that with Jalen Hurts is, and 2 years ago was phenomenal. Yes, he's shown the ability to come back, but their passing offense has been wildly inconsistent, more disappointing than not. But then, you see against Washington, when they had to throw it, he threw it very well. And by the way, he was coming back from a left knee injury. The Pittsburgh game in Week 15 was his best game of this season. Some people would say it was best in 2 seasons. But what happens if they're behind by 10 or more against Spags' defense? Spags will, by the way, he will blitz. He will find somewhere where he thinks you can win. Now, 2 of the Eagles' offensive linemen, they're going to play. Landon Dickerson, their left guard, who's got a left knee injury. He could not finish the game against Washington. He's been cleared, and so is Cam Jurgens with the back injuries. Unless something happens this week in practice, they're going to play. And that's big. And by the way, Hurts had that left knee injury, so he he looked really good 2 weeks ago in the championship game. So, overall, the only question you have is, and you asked a good one, what would be a scenario where you'd be concerned? Every team has concerns. My concern would be, can Hurts get himself together like he has in the past when they have to throw? Now, the thing about him is, right when you think it may not look good, he plays really well against good quarterbacks, like he did against Joe Burrow, went off against him. Or against Russell Wilson against Pittsburgh. This game last week against Jane Daniels, who's obviously had a great season as a rookie. So it's a tight game. I would agree with the point spread. The only thing that the Chiefs have is a little more experience because the Eagles are young, but these young guys have not broken under the pressure. They're playing fantastic football.
Adam Caplan, NFL Insider, at Caplan NFL. He's part of the Inside the Birds podcast, one of several things my main man does, and he's Philly-based. Those kids that you mentioned, the rookies. So Cooper DeJean, Iowa, Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo, I believe. How much do you think rookies can be trusted in a game like this and against Mahomes? Because I mean, I'm with you from either what I've seen or what I've heard other places. Your opinion matters more with this. That those two have been fantastic this year, but this is a different beast, and that quarterback and head coach, they're different creatures.
Yeah, and the thing that's interesting, Paul, with the Chiefs is you've got all that speed with Hollywood Brown back from the fractured scapula in that area, and then Xavier Worthy, who was a supreme deep threat, who the Bills felt they didn't need, and they made that trade with Kansas City so the Chiefs could get him. Worthy has been sort of a short to intermediate run after the catch receiver, but he's always capable. Then you have the Kelsey factor. Now, how will these young guys, as you mentioned, how are they going to handle Kelsey? How are they going to handle that speed? Now, DeJean's a tremendous athlete. Mitchell's a very smooth corner. I'm interested to see kind of what happens here. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson's a guy that really is good tracking the football. He's got a knack for it. The thing is, Paul, the Eagles rarely blitz. They're a bottom 5 blitz percentage team. Fangio believes in 4-man pressure. I'm so fascinated to see, because Eagles are not a spy team. They typically don't put a spy on a quarterback. What are they going to do against Mahomes? Because he may not be a runner, but he's an unbelievable scrambler. He always seems to find an area where you don't have it covered and breaks the back of a defense. So outside of the Super Bowl covenant at Caplan NFL, gather any good steam at the Senior Bowl? Got any good steam? What's going on? Yeah, look, first of all, the quarterback position, it's Cam Ward than everybody else. Shedeur Sanders is number 2. Cam Ward has got the best tools, great arm, told by a pretty good, strong source who's done background on him that he's all football. He's a guy, Tennessee, look, they could take Hunter, who's going to probably most likely play corner, not receiver at the next level. It doesn't mean he can't do it, but the value is at corner. To me, the Titans have to figure it out, Paul, at quarterback. Your hope is you're never up there again. Picking at 1 if you're the Titans. They've got completely new front office. They've got the first pick overall. Now, they could trade down and get more picks because they have a bad roster. But you got to get the quarterback right. Now, I would be fairly surprised if they pass on Cam Ward, but we got a lot of time here.
If KC right guard Trey Smith hits the market, does he potentially receive the biggest deal for a guard ever?
Well, Joe Thuney got it, who, by the way, had been playing left tackle because of the injury to DJ Humphries, who's had this lingering hamstring problem. Very underrated player, by the way. Really good player. He'll get $20 million plus. He'll try to beat the Landon Dickerson deal and all the recent guard deals. I'm glad you mentioned him. Very, very underrated player. Not a lot of people talk about him. Really good football player. He's like Milton Williams, number 93 for the Eagles, who's going to get paid. He's not a big sack guy. At 5 this year, but he'll make a minimum of $15 million in free agency per season. Could go way higher than that. The Eagles want to re-sign him, but they've had no luck doing it. He's one of their unsung heroes. He's probably their highest graded player overall in defense from a game-to-game standpoint. Jalen Carter's the most talented, but if you look at who's played the most consistently well, it's number 93, Milton Williams. Look for him on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've discussed him just briefly in passing with let's get through the Super Bowl, but I asked you about Trey Smith now. Can Kansas City, obviously Kansas City's going to want to keep him, but can Kansas City afford him if it's like $20 million a year, Trey Smith? I mean, he might hit the market.
Yeah, and you can franchise him, but the thing is with Trey Smith and other players, the Chiefs have shown their willingness to walk away from players. Of course, they made the Tyreek Hill trade, which most people thought was crazy. By the way, they've won 2 Super Bowls without him. It's hard to believe, but they don't miss a beat. They've been showing a willingness. Now, Mike Caliendo, not Frank, but Mike Caliendo, 66. Now he could move over to right guard if they don't re-sign Trey Smith. Now, what's happened at left tackle is not only because of DJ Humphries, but Sumatea, their second-round tackle from BYU, got benched. Wanya Morris was a draft pick a couple years ago, got benched. So left tackle is a major problem for the Chiefs, and so is left guard. Caliendo's just okay. So that left side, not only for the Super Bowl, but going forward, they've got to get it right. I mean, obviously Tooney's their left guard, but they got to figure out who's going to be lined up at left tackle for the future. They don't know right now.
A Cap, last one, and basketball is a big part of the sports landscape these days, specifically today with that Luka AD thing. I want to ask you a basketball question, given you're Philly-based. Is Joel Embiid ever going to play again for your Sixers?
He will, but here's my problem with it. Why does he always have this swelling? That to me, Paul, is a real problem for me.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul George has got the finger injury. They're just a nightmare. Maxey, it's such a shame. He's so explosive. Daryl Morey got that one right, but there's just nothing. And then Drummond, the backup center, is a pretty good backup. He's been hurt. They're playing competitive basketball, but they can't win. They just don't have enough players right now. But yeah, Embiid will play, but who the heck knows? And it's never good when a player's got swelling that's not going away.
How about, you probably were all wrapped up in football-related stuff, but how about that collapse yesterday versus the Celtics? Holy cow.
Yeah, and they had it. They played well for a while, and then they just don't have enough scoring and enough defense. But how about those blockbuster trades? You got to love the NBA and the trade deadline. There's nothing like that in professional sports, not MLB, not NFL. It's pretty crazy what the Mavericks did, what the Kings did.
Great.
But it's great for chatter. There's no question about it.
All right, my brother. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Safe travels. Tell Scott Farrell, who I've known for multiple decades. How can I be the man? You the man. You don't want to stop the man with the man with the man. Yeah, I've known Scotty since our days together in San Francisco when he worked at KMBR. I was a racetrack announcer at Bay Meadows and Golden Gate Fields, and we actually met and became friends.
Good man.
Have fun with the grid, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Adam Caplan, at Caplan NFL 941. The sports A topic is Luka Doncic getting traded to the LA Lakers for Anthony Davis. There were ancillary pieces and parts and players and names and everything, but that is the sports landscape A topic. And we're going to hit it hard. We will sprinkle things in during the course of 9 to noon today, but an hour from now, one of my very favorites, super gifted radio show host, Bob Sturm from The Ticket in Dallas. He's going to give us the Dallas perspective where outside of American Airlines Arena where they play their home games, right now, it started last night and I think they're adding to it. There's a vigil, would be a memorial. He didn't die, but I mean, people are like leaving jerseys and shirts and candles and
for Luka?
For Luka Doncic outside of American Airlines Arena.
Love that.
Well, I saw
this is devastating to the Billies and Johnnies down there.
I saw a video yesterday. I think they even made it in Mavericks colors. 3 guys brought a coffin. They brought a coffin and set it at that vigil you're talking about.
Jerry Jones walked by. He's like, oh, what are they doing right there with that thing?
The fan base is crushed.
I'm not dead yet, y'all. The fan base is quickly going to recognize that when Anthony Davis rolls in, that's short term, like you said.
Yeah.
But that's what's right in front of us now.
No, it's gonna work.
So
in the short term.
Yeah. Nordo and I, we can opine on tomorrow, but we got enough things with which to deal today. We prefer to look at the today.
Yes, correct.
On a day-to-day basis, and yes, the purge did have something to do with that when it came to hour by hour, but we digress. Tell me what you think about this. So you got Davis, as the kids would say, a dog of all dogs ever to dog, tough as nails, dominates important categories when he's healthy. So you got Anthony Davis, P.J. Washington, Derek Lively when he returns, Daniel Gafford, combating Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Chet Holmgren's about set to return.
Yeah.
He's getting closer.
It's getting closer.
So Holmgren, that's all the OKC stuff. Kyrie's like, I got SGA. We good. in big spots, big moments, Kyrie's like, I got SGA. I got enough left. We good.
No, that's the...
See what I'm saying?
We're talking about Rottweilers versus Poodles right now, PA, because that PJ Washington,
dog,
AD, Lively and Gafford,
dog.
And I'm, I hope Chet Holmgren finds his way to being healthy and is a consummate growing star in this league. There's no doubt.
About ready to find his way to AD in 4 block shots.
Yeah, good luck freaking bodying up against this front court again with Dallas. Right. So, and SGA is so smooth, and he has figured out. I mean, there are many great con games that exist in this world. SGA finding his way to the line as often as that cat does is freaking unbelievable. Yeah. He's a bona fide stud, no doubt about it. Kyrie's been there. Kyrie has done that. Kyrie is a dog.
I got SGA. We good.
It is Rottweilers versus Poodles as it pertains to this Mavericks lineup, fully healthy. Everyone involved. Mm-hmm. Okay, you
Spencer Dinwiddie.
You can try and get us at times with Lou Dort. That's fine. But Kyrie has got SGA. And good luck in the front court. That's it.
And we ain't trying to make this into Mavericks fan line, but it's never as easy or obvious as everybody thinks it is when they look at one side and they're like, the Kentucky kid missed 21 a game on average. All right, one season he missed like 40, so that like skews him. Maybe more than that. The other guy's 25, and he's a wizard with the ball. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's missing games too.
But if I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan and I'm realistic, I'm not overly emotional that yes, Luka's the bomb. Okay, Luka's the bomb. Ain't nobody trying to shortchange Luka Doncic. But this general manager, I think in the business they call him Nico Harrison. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. All right. Under the cover of darkness, there goes Porzingis. In comes Daniel Gafford. Right. Who? Okay. Yeah, who? The one blocking every shot in the Western Conference Finals and trying to do the same in the NBA Finals. And they recognized this tough as nails forward PJ Washington was languishing in Charlotte and went out and got him middle of the season.
It's a great acquisition.
The acquisition.
Well, Gafford and PJ, yeah.
And they went from a good team to an NBA Finals team. Personally speaking, for me, over the course of time, people who do things like that get the benefit of the doubt from me until this thing's just like completely obviously nasty and I ain't seeing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, I know we're late and we got to pause. The only thing I'll say is they transitioned from a team that had Luka and had Jalen Brunson and are now transferred. They have transitioned from a team that maybe had a duo centerpiece for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I know it's going to get expensive.
Yeah.
But they transitioned from that to being gun for hires because the Kyrie thing is not a long-term thing. The Anthony Davis thing is not a long-term thing. They transitioned from drafting 2 centerpieces that could own that freaking city and stand a mile high to going gun for hire for titles right now. We'll see how it works out. In the short term, it looks pretty good on paper, but that is stark to me. So you're right. Nico made some terrific moves to complement this thing. But long term, it still feels like there is a cliff waiting to be jumped over.
Ain't gonna argue. It's Mission Mardi Gras week. We didn't make it. There was a stretch this season. I thought we had a fair chance to do the Gritty in the Crescent City, but we didn't. And next season, we get Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow.
Oh, God.
All at U.S. Bank Stadium. What a world. Let's mix in some Vikes Bites next.
Vikes Bites.
Welcome back. Vikes Bites is presented by the great people at Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Beef and Luca.
And you can shop online. A box of meat shows up at your doorstep. You can go to the website as well, learn about regenerative agriculture. You can learn about why Thousand Hills more nutrient dense and the flavors unbelievable with their beef. You can go to local Coburns and co-ops as well, and they're proud sponsors of Gophers Athletics. As you mentioned it, PA, just kind of peeking ahead to the 2025 schedule. I got a few talkers for you, but looking at that schedule here, how lopsided is this freaking thing? I mean, in 2025, we don't know exactly how the schedule is going to lay out. We know that 3 home games here, 3 road games there, et cetera. Where's the bye week? All of that. But we know that on the road, We got our divisional opponents, of course. Then we're going to head to the shores of Lake Erie against Stefanski and whoever their quarterback's going to be. You head to Dallas with Schottenheimer. Maybe, we're going to have Bob Sturm on and talk to him just before the 11 o'clock hour, 10:45-ish. Talk to him about Luka. Ask him about the 10 p.m. Friday night coach reveal for Schottenheimer, like they're embarrassed by it.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're going to head to see the Giants again as well. So we're going to MetLife, and then the Steelers, Seahawks, and Chargers. So a couple of toughies in there, no doubt about it.
Right.
9 road games, 8 home games. Are you kidding me? With Lamar and the Ravens, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Jalen Hurts, potential defending Super Bowl champs, Eagles, Jaden Daniels, and the Commanders, and Mr. Penix and the Falcons. That's a brutal home schedule, PA. And so as we're looking to put the pieces back together with this, is it J.J. McCarthy, SZN? What does the O-line look like? We got free agents galore, the purple purge, as you've put it. You look at that schedule, man, and it is daunting in 2025 for the purple.
Well, I mean, you've stated it plainly and eloquently and rapidly before. To be the best, you have to beat the best. And that's what's coming to U.S. Bank Stadium.
I have that tattoo on my lower back, actually.
I think the Eagles are going to be defending Super Bowl champions. I think you believe the same thing, unless opinions change, and we still have time to change opinions up to a game that's 6 days away.
After the weekend, my opinion has almost only gotten stronger. PA on Sunday's game, the big game, and Saquon running for a mile.
Yeah.
Still very confident in Philly.
All right, so they're Friday. I don't know if they're in football abyss-like fashion. They're just tired of talking about the Super Bowl or whatever at ESPN, but when we were doing the feast on the crawl with one of those morning shows they have, it was like, is Joe Burrow an elite quarterback? I'm like, I mean, maybe I'm missing something here, but I mean, yeah. I mean, is it even a question? Joe Burrow's the bomb.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So we get him. Maybe there are some questions around the young man. We don't believe so. So to be the best, you got to beat the best. You got the tough division and beloved BJ now guiding the Bears. So there ain't no easy passes this day and age. The Nords.
Well, there's a crazy theme around this though, because you look at Lamar, you look at Jalen Hurts, and you look at Jaden Daniels. I mean, first of all, the quarterbacks are massive. But this has been an issue for the Vikings defense, not just the last couple of years, but really the last handful. And frankly, I mean, it's a potential problem for any defense in the NFL. But running QBs, guys that can get loose, guys that can extend plays.
Great.
You think about having to replace most of the Vikings secondary in upcoming free agency with a few draft picks sprinkled in. Lamar's ability to huck it around, but buy himself time, and ultimately he's one of the faster running backs in the NFL if needed to be. Jalen Hurts is super smooth with that massive offensive line, and Jaden Daniels, I think he still prefers to throw, but certainly can use his legs, and he's shifty and smooth when he needs to be.
Runs like the wind.
Our ability to contain seems like a part of the conversation in 2025.
In all of those games, because you're right, when it comes to having a mobile quarterback, a running quarterback, you can do a lot of damage. And those will be the talkers up to those games when they're analyzing Daniel Jones. It was so stupid.
Yeah, it's perfect, though.
It was just dumb.
I just like hearing that sound.
So do I.
It doesn't matter what you say on the front end of it. You hit that sounder, and it feels right.
It's fun.
My last little bit for you here. Vikes Bites, thank you, Thousand Hills.
Yeah.
Clearwater, Minnesota's finest.
Beef.
Sam Darnold hit Justin Jefferson for a touchdown in the cute, amazing Pro Bowl yesterday, PA. One last ride, maybe, before the lights fade on Sam's tenure in Minnesota. My question to you, just it's almost nostalgic. It's almost fluffy and warm on a Monday morning where we're lamenting the Wolves. We're about to lament the Wild in Ottawa and all of those things. Warm and fuzzy moment. Is there a particular instance, a play, a highlight that pops into your head when you think about Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson in 2024?
Niners, 97, career longs for both. JJ had his career long was in the third game of his career.
Yeah, was it 71 against
71,
the Titans?
71. I think Kenny Vaccaro was the overmatched safety.
How about them like crashing into each other, the two Titans defensive backs?
Oh, yeah. 3-2. So his career long was 71 yards. 2020. I mean, not that anybody was there to see it. I mean, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there for Justin's first touchdown, did he really score?
My favorite part of 2020, by the way, is of all the awful things that happened.
Yeah.
The highlight video that VEN's former finest Grant Ridpath put together of you doing the games in the radio booth with the table set up off of TVs. That 9 seconds or so of you just losing your mind in various moments. That's one of my favorite takeaways.
I
from
always
2020.
love that one.
One of my favorite takeaways from 2020 took place mid-March 2020. We're doing radio shows here at the FAN, and Barrero didn't see me coming around a corner, and we got within, I don't know, 15 feet of each other, and he jumped through the ceiling.
I always love that
You
one.
haven't been in the same room since.
Knocked my mask off the breeze.
I always love that one.
It's like one of those F-150-90 things or whatever with like the aggressive steel around it, too.
You asked him if you could touch his eye with your finger.
Correct. But I didn't. I just asked.
But you did not. No, and I thought it was respectful that you made the request first. That's Vikes Bites, by the way, brought to you by Thousand Hills. Thank you, Thousand Hills.
We segue to hockey in the middle portion of the radio show. Mick Tocchet. He's, don't add us, all right? He's hockey immortality. Everybody knows it. He's also on the mural at Mariucci. Gophers, wild Gophers, and some more with the Tocchet around the corner. KFAN.